We'll do a bunch of stuff. I love that tune.
Good evening and welcome to Field Talk. I am the Field, also known as Field Bears, here to remind you that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. Also, have you ever started out the day knowing that just something was missing? Something in your life that was beautiful or handsome, such as a mug with which to enjoy your coffee and start off your day right by orienting your soul toward beauty with the Field of Bears handsome mug, available at the link in the description. Now, since I had planned to have another Steelman show tonight, but I arranged to have a shifty Jew on the show, and well, he shifted. So, no Steelman debate about does rape culture Israel's. So instead, what I've decided to do is have a call-in show on Kavanaugh. Oops. Got to shut off the air conditioner. I've decided to have a call-in show on Kavanaugh. The only thing is I'm a little bit leery. Just a little bit leery. Here's what I'll do. I will go ahead and post the link in the chat. Let's go ahead and fix this thing. Oh no. And if anyone wants to go ahead and call in about this subject while I am attempting to fix the window. You know what? This link is no longer going to work. I'm going to attempt closing out that window. That link no longer works, my dudes. And this no longer works, my dudes. Okay, I'm going to try and restart the stream real quick. Welcome back to the Brian Fights with Technology show. Hey, Big Drum Bear, maybe you would like to call in just a sec. Hang on, I have to restart OBS. We should be back. And we're back. Are we back? Please tell me we are back. Alright, that works. Okay, and now. Oh. There we go. So, anyone who's got things to say on the Kavanaugh recent confirmation, please go ahead and follow the link in the chat. Hello, Robot there. It's a free-for-all call-in show because Pender has shifted on us. He's shifted away. All right, who have I got on now?
Hey, Field, it's Veteran.
Hey, Veteran Bear. Let's get you onto the screen. All right, there you are. And I need to get rid of this thing so that there's not a box in front of your face. All right. For those who don't know you, please go ahead and introduce yourself, shill your channel, and anything else that needs shilling, such as a mug.
I'm still working on the mug. Hey guys, it's Veteran Bear. You can check out mine on YouTube on my Veteran channel. I don't have any merch. Not like Field. I'm not that creative yet, so I'm still working on it.
All right. So, what do you think this confirmation means? Do you think that there's going to be the riots that the left was threatening, or do you think that was a lot of hot wind?
I don't think it's going to lessen at this point. I think it's actually going to continue. They're just going to wait for the next issue to appear. And they'll just move on to the next thing. It's like reality TV. They're just going to move on to the next issue.
So you think they're going to forget about this when the media tells them what to be outraged about next week?
Yes, they're going to move on to the next thing. Although they're still going to ask if the Democrats manage to win back the House and the Senate, they will demand that they impeach Kavanaugh. I think that's the thing. I think that narrative is still there.
They only need the House to get impeachment powers, by the way. But
but I'm saying to completely remove him if they manage to convict with the Senate.
Oh, hello, kind sir.
Why don't you introduce yourself and shill your stuff? And
all right. Oh, well, I like to kill niggers.
18 naked cowboys in the shout ramp.
All the niggers.
Prepared chopping cocks wanting to be sucked.
You know what I mean? Nigger, 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 nigger.
So, yeah, this was your chance to be taken seriously. I'm sorry, Veteran.
It's okay, I got dropped.
Yeah, Hangouts is completely useless. So, guys, I'm sure you think that was really hilarious, but you've just missed out on your chance to be taken seriously for the first time in your life. You've just missed out on your chance to actually say something valuable. I realize it's very funny to surprise people with naughty things, but do you really honestly think I have a problem with the word nigger? Do you think you really transgressed anything with me by saying nigger? Do you think words hold power over me? I'm afraid you've made a mistake. I'm afraid you've made a mistake about that, guys. So, most of my dudes, I can actually get a hold of. I can get a hold of everyone who I want to get a hold of without doing that. Watch. Watch. Watch this. There we go. That was some 12-year-old troll who thought that he would be able to get me flustered by saying nigger. Go ahead and check the private chat, veteran there, and you will see a link to another call. You're the idiot who said that you liked to kill niggers. I'm not afraid of words. Hey, veteran, are you back?
I'm back.
That was just a bit crazy.
Very much so, but I'm used to it.
That's
trolls for you.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit amusing that he thought that he would get me flustered by saying naughty words, but you know. It was just the porn where I couldn't deal, and then there was blowing into the microphone. It would have actually been kind of cool if the troll actually did have anything to say. I gave him a chance before I went ahead and killed him.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But to kind of go back to what we were talking about, it's just a matter of they're just waiting for the next big issue to pop up.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Before Kavanaugh, it was the Paris Accords of all things, and and also the hurricane was going to be the worst hurricane in the world. And the chat
the hurricane's caused by Donald Trump.
I've got just an idea. Yeah, it was a little bit insane. No,
so they're just waiting for the next big thing, and then they'll scream and cry, and if they don't manage to win any seats in November, if their blue wave doesn't show up, then it's just going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I don't know. If the blue wave doesn't show up, they will definitely continue to be shrill. But you've also got the not just the blue wave to worry about. You've got if as it turns out the Republicans do have really high turnout due to being energized by all of this Kavanaugh circus. which I think is looking more and more likely, then we're going to have to be dealing with their fallout. They're not going to be very pleased, and they're going to be acting a fool.
And full victim status will be in effect. Oh, well, we keep losing, and it's your fault. And yeah, they don't know how to overcome victim status at this point.
No, they don't.
They don't have any great leaders rising up and saying, "Hey, I'm your next statesman, and I can lead us out of the darkness." That's what they're hoping, but it's not happening, and we'll just keep winning. That's how it is.
It's like, well, I've got someone in the chat saying, "Hey man, is there a way I can still talk to you? Does anyone want to check out Dank Dagger Duck and see if that's someone who we can deal with?" I've got.
So yeah, right now I'm double tasked here.
Don't worry, I'll do it. Channel has no videos, so I don't know. I'm gonna go with no.
You're probably gonna want to go with your gun on that one.
Yeah.
No videos, no comments. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Duck Guy. See, right after I had that ear rape going on, I've lost trust in you guys. I've lost trust in the chat. And there's only 8 of you here. And it's really, unfortunately, if the only thing is I don't want to be putting it out on the public chat again.
Right. You should have somebody from the regular chat see if they're willing to contribute.
Actually, I would. I have seen a couple of guys on here before, and I know, like, do you know if like McNicktown is in the chat or what?
I don't know. I hadn't seen Mr. Nicktown today.
Yeah, I don't think Boulder will have the data to join the call. I don't think that can happen at the moment. Hey, Pastry Bear, do you want to jump in? The link is in the chat. No, are you in the Hangout group, McNicktown? Because I think you jumped in last time I had an open call-in show, and that was good.
I think, honestly, the real question's going to be about this is, what's the news going to be on Monday with the cases that are appearing before the Supreme Court? And are the protests now going to happen outside the steps of the Supreme Court?
Well, it depends on how now that the media doesn't have any power over the senators since they've already voted. What are they going to do? How is the story going to keep being driven forward? The only possible move the media would have to get Kavanaugh removed is calls to violence, and that would lead to the National Guard being called out, which would put an end to the violence very quickly. I've seen footage of putting an end to riots by the National Guard, and it's not pretty. And I'm sure that you remember seeing it. Hey, Space Battleship! Do you want to talk about the American Supreme Court? Over there in Airstrip 3. But yeah, I think you're right. We're going to have to see how the oh, it's all right, Space. I think you're right. We're going to have to see about how the the media is reacting on Monday, because they could just continue the hysteria.
Well, and it's just going to depend. Like, is there going to be another accusation of some sort that just happens to, it's like TVs being transported across town, and you get a 40-inch TV box that falls off the truck. Is the media just waiting for the next thing to fall off the truck and go, oh, look at this. This is what happened. And wait, Brett Kavanaugh was involved.
I'm not really so sure about that, because the time frame to influence the senators' vote, which is what they were trying to do. They were trying to intimidate senators into voting no for his confirmation. That time frame is up. So I don't think the media will be taking any further accusations credibly. They will suddenly the fact checkers will become much more incredulous somehow.
I think you got a good point there. I think that somehow they're going to try to keep the spin going, but I think you're right.
It's Christine Blasey Ford has decided not to pursue charges any further than this hearing, under advice from her lawyers.
Which her two lawyers were highly political versus forensic lawyers that I recently heard.
Oh, shoot! I tried to mute for that. Sorry. Anyway,
Which
yeah.
I thought was fascinating, because you would seek out a forensic lawyer if you actually have beef with someone to accumulate evidence and witnesses, if you really had a valid case.
Or at least a tort lawyer. At the very least, you would want somebody who's experienced on extracting damages. Like, am I wrong? By the way, you're
right.
You're out of frame.
And her GoFundMe was kind of telling as well.
Yeah, that was really suspicious. Suddenly she gets $1 million over the span of like a week. For $1 million, I'd get groped.
All of her fees, her transportation, her accommodations were paid with public tax dollars. She didn't need $1 million for this. I mean, it's almost being paid for a speaking engagement is what this almost comes across like.
Yeah, and they actually put her up in a really nice hotel. So it was like a big old DC vacation where she got $1 million to speak in front of the Senate. I would legit get sexually assaulted for that. Not like fake one, like an actual sexual assault. And not just butt groping, because I've endured that as a wrestler. Obviously, the stat girls don't understand boundaries quite as well as the other guys. Just saying, just because you're pretty doesn't mean that you get to go around pinching guys in the butt. What's wrong with you? Anyway, like a legit like some ugly person coming up and grabbing my ding dong, I would be willing to submit myself to that for $1 million and speaking in front of the Senate.
Well, and you would get your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to lie through my teeth about it, though.
I don't know. It depends on what kind of actor you were and what the circumstances are.
See, Pastry Bear, the limit is penetration, so no bonuses. It's like the $1 million for the sexual assault, but I'm not going past that.
I have a comment, but I'm going to keep that to myself.
Yes, I'm just shy of a prostitute, I know.
So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'll hop out and see if anybody else wants to jump in and contribute.
Yeah. All right, we'll see if anyone wants to contribute as well, and we'll try and get a Steelman show going for next week, guys. Maybe we'll get Pinder to stop shifting around like a you-know-what.
And Field, thanks for having me.
Yeah, go subscribe to his channel. He streams and he has ducks.
Oh, which, if anybody's curious, I'll demonstrate the ducks for you. There you go. Live action ducks. There you go.
Yep, there they are.
All right. Thanks, Field.
See you guys. Not guys. How about you, Robot Bear? I've seen you in the hangout. I've seen you. Now I saw a lot. I saw quite a bit on Hey Cowboy Bear. Do you want to jump in? No problem. No problem, Veteran Bear. Oh, the link to the hangout is right in the hangout chat. I thought I'd seen you in the hangout. Okay, well, here's what I'll do. We're attempting to have a call-in show. I've seen you in the hangout, and so since you've been in there, I'm pretty sure Cowboy Bear you've been in. Yeah, because I've talked to you. The link is in the chat of the hangout, so if you want to call in and talk about this recent decision. He's not in this. Oh, did I post it to the other hangout? Okay, I will. Sorry. There you go, Cowboy Bear. It's in that hangout too. I got invited to another hangout and I got them confused. It's got a lot of the same people in it. So you guys should be able to find the link. It's in both of whichever hangouts that we might be in. It's freely available. I need some kind of I need to be able to set up some kind of system to where I can kick people out. Hangouts is a problem because I can't kick people out of the call when they go a little bit insane. How much violence was caused by male I don't know, but there was some violence caused by a male feminist over an anti-abortion protest in Canada land. Apparently that was one of the Bear's sisters as well, who got roundhouse kicked by a brave male feminist. It was so brave. There's UFC tonight? No wonder. No wonder. Yeah, Bison Bear's sister. That's correct. Do you think it was the same little kid? Do you think it was the same little kid? I wonder if it was. And I'm really sad. I hope he stayed around to see my reaction, because it would have been really interesting if he had anything valuable to say. It would have been. I think it would have been interesting. So I'm going to roll the dice here and post this in the chat, and then I'm going to delete it. All right, who have I got?
This is Cowboy.
Hey, Cowboy Bear.
Let me mute you. I'm getting some weird feedback. There we go. So I don't know why my camera's not working. So I'm going to. There we go. There we go. There I am.
All right. So go ahead and check the screen and the stream and see if you like how it is.
Let me scroll up here. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, that works.
There we go. So. All right. So welcome to the show. What do you you're Cowboy Bear, do you have anything to shill before we get started?
To shill? No, man, I don't get paid to lie.
You know what I mean by shill. You got a YouTube channel, a Twitter handle.
Yeah, I'm starting.
Have you got a mug that is clearly inferior to the handsome mug that you're selling?
No, I don't. I don't have a mug. I was thinking about using and calling like a new T-shirt, but it's a little too controversial. I polled some of the bears, so I don't think I'm going to produce it. So, but yeah, my channel is the original Cowboy Bear. I haven't done an intro. There's nothing on it yet. I'm probably going to work on that tonight with my music video. I got some videos up about servicing a chainsaw, logging arch. I was doing some more logging again today, but
okay, so you're one of those people who actually knows how to edit things.
Yeah, my former life, I was at one time, I was the manager of 2 bands and playing in a 3rd band. So yeah, while I was going to school and building houses all at the same time. So yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, that's pretty great. And now, according to the mainstream media, a serial gang rapist who has escaped detection for over 30 years is now a Supreme Court justice. Thoughts?
Well, I went through and I have a propensity not to believe women immediately because I've been surrounded by the double X lying chromosome my entire life. So sorry to all the female bears out there. I know you guys are the exception, not the rule, but as the bell curve goes, honesty relies solely on the Y chromosome, I think. But so when she accused it, I knew it was just another I don't want to say acquisition, but it was just another um,
Would you call it a
thing that
political calculation?
yeah, yeah, it was a machination that was there to destroy whatever pick was there for Trump, and it was blatantly obvious. From the moment that all of her things that all of her witnesses that she called, I know it wasn't a trial, but all of her stuff to back up her story fell through. And listen, man, I only saw some of the footage of when she was testifying, but living with the people that I grew up with that were really good liars, I can spot a snake pretty flippin' quick. So I knew she was lying through the skin of her teeth, right? And I was just like, I'm gonna push this bitch in front of a bus, if I ever see her in real life, because that is BS, just to destroy a man because you can,
Yeah,
and that's
no.
what it is. It's to destroy a man just because you can.
Well, the only thing is the biggest problem I've had with this entire circus is no one wanted to extend the former judge, now Justice Kavanaugh, the benefit of the doubt, which means that if there is doubt, then you give them the benefit of presuming innocence, and there was just reams and reams of doubt in this
Well,
case.
and that's the
And
thing.
so we should
Yeah, go ahead.
we should have been treating him and talking about him as though he was innocent. And that's the way that I will go forward with this. I think that he was innocent because his accuser could not provide sufficient evidence to prove in any capacity, not even a civil capacity, that he did in fact assault her. Now, on the flip side of that, I can't then just say, well, she's obviously a horrible lying person, when there are a couple of doubts that I can raise, such as the fact that memory degrades over time, and there's this little thing called traumatic transference, which is where if you're exposed to someone's face via media, such as mugshots or in TV, you might transfer that image onto your memory of a traumatic event if it looks vaguely similar to what you recall. And the longer the span, the less clear that recollection can be, and the more likely a transference will happen if the actual person was not properly identified.
I've heard about that because of I've had some not experience with that, but I've heard some therapists say that because of some of the stuff that I went through. Like I went through an extreme traumatic event in my youth, and I guess you would call it that I have PTSD to this day. Like I relive that almost daily, which is fine, right? Because that's what I'm supposed to do. About that, that's how I get through it. But I don't. I relive it. Some of the stuff is faded, and that's what really scares me, and actually hurts me more than remembering the event is that details fade, right? And I don't fill in the details of what's happened, but it just goes away. So I don't. Maybe somebody's other physiology would react different to it and do what you're talking about with the transference, but I don't see that as a viable option, especially with the amount of
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a.
psychological study that I've
I'm
done
not saying.
myself.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not saying that it's definite, but it's sufficient doubt to where I think that I should go forward giving her the benefit of the doubt, even though it was denied by her and her side to Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, fair enough. You could do that. I mean, I really like Nimmer's take on that, and that's kind of the take I would go with. Even though you might, uh, believe that person who's making the claim, if they don't have enough evidence for it, you can't hold it against the other person, right? You have to have uh, that, like the whole due process is your thing. You prove, we're a culture that was built upon innocent until proven guilty, almost to a fault, So, I mean, you do that in your personal relationships, right? You don't I mean, I guess decent people do that. There's plenty of non-decent people that immediately can they know what you were thinking or what your intention was before you even said it, right? There's plenty of those morons that are running amok. So, yeah, you got to give the people that you deal with in life or even in this is political sphere, the benefit of the doubt. But you also, if they don't bring any substantial evidence, it's time to GTFO.
Well, exactly. It's like you couldn't prove it. Your accusation is proved false. And now we're at the point where we need to figure out, was this malicious or mistaken? And if we can't prove malice, then I have to go with mistaken.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean,
that's the only thing where I'd say pump the brakes on, and all the rest I'm like, yeah. I didn't believe her. I was pretty sure that she was not being truthful on the stand, and the fact that nobody corroborated her story, that there was no evidence that corroborated her story, that she refused to turn over the therapist notes, that she refused to turn over the polygraph report, not just the statement at the end. Like, they wanted the graphs and the questions and the video and all that, and she refused to give them that. And so all of that kind of throws her in a bad light when we're talking about malice versus mistake, but that could just as easily have been bad advice from lawyers.
Oh, true, very true. So I mean, I like that you're going with the mistake and you want to believe her. From my, from my personal experience, man, she did this intentionally. I don't think she instigated it. I don't think she came up with the plot. I think somebody sold her on it and was like, yeah, I'll go along with this. Now that being said, we don't have we don't have any evidence that happened, so we can't hold her to any type of malice, like you said. But I'm not going to believe her another word that comes out of her mouth.
No, we can definitely say that she's not trustworthy at this point. Either because her memory is wildly inaccurate or because she's a liar, one of the two. It's after this, it's got to be one of those.
Oh, I want to just address Space Battleship in the chat, man. If she writes a book about this experience, I would totally go after her for libel and malice and throw her in jail. And I would go so far as use this to set a precedence that, like, false accusers of a crime serve the time. So it's time to start holding people to that level.
I don't know, that might actually be I think that would be a fair punishment if you could prove it.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't just be for sexual crimes. It would be for false accusations of murder, theft, because people falsely accuse each other all the time to get one up in legal situations and stuff like that.
Right.
It just it just happens that one of them is weaponized because of believe women all the time for everything. And so you do kind of just make me think of this right now, and I think that it's a good idea to try and impress on people that the normal, average, healthy male is not a rapist in waiting.
Exactly.
Beer doesn't turn men into rapists, and women don't need to be protected from men, all the time. A woman might need protection from a man, but that's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of men, healthy, well-adjusted men, naturally want to protect women because, big surprise, we're kind of complementary like that, to where women, healthy, well-adjusted women, naturally want to love and support a man. So, if we can get away from this idea that all men are bad and all women are saints, maybe we won't have these false allegations dropped in from orbit to nuke someone's career. But that's just a thought on the fly.
Yeah, I get that. I would go a step further and say, I've been listening to Molyneux for quite some time. I want to say 2008. No, it wasn't that. 2010, because I was out of school. So yeah, since 2010. And listen, he's got all the stats to back it up, all the studies to back it up. Women initiate 70% of the divorces. They're by nature hypergamous. That means they like to what the red pill term is monkey branch. So they're looking for their next man. Well, they got a man already, right? They cheat more than men, believe it or not. And there's actual studies out there. I can't cite them right now, but Molyneux's got them. So you
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
dig
I
through
know,
his
I know all
video.
this, but on the flip side, men are naturally promiscuous.
So yeah, exactly. I mean, that's
So it's
what we
like
want to do,
some
but
of some
we're
of
not
our nature is
right.
some of our nature is base, but some of it is glorious. And I was pointing out the glorious complementary parts of our natures.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
you're right. We do have also the baser natures that we should not indulge. The women should not indulge hypergamy, and men should not indulge promiscuity.
right. My point bringing that up is like women's sex drive, especially when they get a little bit older, is stronger than males. Actually, like I don't see every woman out there and be like, oh, I want to jump her bones, and just squirt, 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 squirt. No, that's no. I'm a man. I am not like an amoeba. Sorry, and that's really fucking insulting when
Well,
women
come on.
say that.
Amoebas don't
Right?
do sex. They
Yeah,
reproduce asexually.
yeah.
Come on.
I know.
Like, you can insult maybe a dog like that, but be accurate.
No, even dogs aren't even that way, man. Dogs have some self-restraint too. They're like, man, they sniff one another first to see if one of them's a viable partner. So, yeah, but no, men aren't out there just to spread seed constantly and forever, and it's really insulting to have that stereotype put forth constantly, be drone into our head constantly. Nope,
No,
we
you're
want a
right.
good woman just like a woman wants a good man. So,
You're right. And when you've got healthy, well-adjusted man and woman, they're much more likely to be monogamous because that turns out to be one of the best ways to create a family together and have a successful progeny.
mhm.
The spray and pray method is not necessarily the best way to have your descendants do well.
Yep, the R method versus the K method. Yep.
Yeah, that the gene war stuff is kind of mind blowing, and I think
Mhm.
that might be why those women, those not so attractive, obviously promiscuous women, were charging at the Senate yesterday.
That's because without rape, they weren't going to get any anyway. But who's going to rape them? That argument just goes right there, man. If you're going to rape somebody, if you're that hard up that you're going to rape somebody and you're going to get caught, right? You're going to go to jail. You better make it worth your time at least.
Well, see, here's the deal with the rapists. You got to realize that they don't have standards; they just have targets that are vulnerable to them.
Fair enough. That's a predator. Then that's not sex at that point. That's just a predatory, evil mindset versus, and they want to, what is that? They want to conquer purity or they want to dominate, right? That's an evil
Yeah,
mindset. It's
and
not a
that's
sexual in the nature.
and that happens to men who are raped as well. It's just about whether or not the aggressor has the ability to dominate in that situation, that moment, time, place, like a dark alley or a unlit park at night or a juvenile hall.
Mm-hmm. And that would have been baller space if Kavanaugh said, "I wouldn't even touched you with my friend's 10-foot pole." That would have been pretty good. Well, I'm gonna bow out here, Field,
All right,
and
so I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice once you leave, and I'm going to post this in the chat for like 5 seconds.
okay. All right, man.
All right, so
See ya.
okay, I'm rolling the dice here, guys. Rolling the dice. If anyone wants to go ahead and call in right now, this is your one chance, or maybe not your one chance. Yeah, one more call. I'll do one more call, and that's it. So McDicktown, the link is in the chat. If you want to call in, or Fairbear. Just one more, guys. Hey, Stormy Bear, you want to click on that link? Alright, sorry, Nira. Sorry about that. I'll turn the camera off then. You can just be a static icon. And a voice on the other side of it. Well, in that case, it is 6:53. I was going to go a little bit long, but I am going to close out of the hangout, and I'm going to switch over here. No, Fairbear, I haven't seen that video. I haven't seen it. So, in the end, I think that this Kavanaugh stuff, this has been quite the circus. I think that we have a pretty good chance of having a more constitutional constitutional Supreme Court. I think we're going to end up seeing. I think that maybe Justice Kavanaugh has ended up quite, shall we say, red pilled or red suppositoried on feminism and how that actually works out. And that will be really interesting. If you enjoyed the call-in, even the trolls. If you enjoyed the call-in with the trolls and the suddenly gay porn, please go ahead and hit like, or you can hit dislike for that. If you enjoyed the calls, you can hit like for that. If you want to see more, like possibly a Steelman show next week, hopefully we'll have our Steelman show next week. You can subscribe, and if you want that subscription to mean anything, please hit the bell. If you want to support the show, you can sow the field at paypal.me/fieldtalk. Or you can follow the link in the description to buy this very handsome mug. Available now, unlike Pinder's Ugly Mug, which is no longer available because it is inferior in every way. And as always, have a great night, and never forget that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide.